It's January 8, 2026. The USS Abraham Lincoln is operating in the South China Sea, conducting routine live-fire exercises. Close-in weapon systems engage aerial targets, flight operations run on schedule, and nothing about the day suggests a deviation from standard Pacific posture. Then the secure line rings on the bridge. The orders are immediate and unambiguous. Terminate exercises, reconfigure the ship, and proceed at maximum speed to the Persian Gulf. No delay window. No gradual transition. The carrier is being pulled from the Pacific and reassigned to the Middle East in real time. That decision narrows the field instantly. The U.S. Navy operates 11 aircraft carriers, but only one is positioned, certified, and configured to respond on a compressed timeline. George Washington is too far north in Japan. Theodore Roosevelt has just exited maintenance and is not fully mission-ready. Gerald R. Ford, despite her technological edge, is locked in a separate geopolitical standoff. The Pentagon does not choose potential, it chooses certainty. That certainty is Abraham Lincoln. If you want more intense military analysis like this, subscribe to the channel to join our community and stay tuned. The urgency comes down to Iran. In early 2026, the Middle East is not simply tense. It is approaching a threshold where deterrence must be actively demonstrated. Washington needs a carrier capable of executing a credible day-one operation against a modern, layered air defense network that requires stealth integration, electronic warfare dominance, and a crew already tested under live combat conditions. Lincoln is the only carrier that checks all three boxes simultaneously. USS Abraham Lincoln, CV N-72, is the fifth Nimitz-class carrier, commissioned in 1989. Her motto, "Shall not perish," reflects an operational history defined by endurance. In 2020, the ship completed 295 consecutive days at sea without port calls or extended maintenance, sustaining full flight operations and combat readiness throughout. That endurance exceeds the operational limits of every peer carrier force globally. More importantly, it demonstrates systemic reliability under pressure. Between 2013 and 2017, the Navy invested approximately $3 billion in a full refueling and complex overhaul. The ship was stripped to its structural core and rebuilt with new nuclear reactors, modernized sensors, fiber optic data infrastructure, and hardened command spaces. Most critically, Lincoln became the first Nimitz-class carrier optimized, not merely adapted, for F-35C Lightning II operations. Reinforced deck systems, classified mission spaces, and network architecture were designed specifically to support fifth-generation warfare. The result was not a refit, but a transformation. That capability was validated in combat. In the Red Sea, Lincoln and her escorts intercepted multiple anti-ship ballistic missiles launched by Iranian-backed Houthi forces against commercial shipping. These were live engagements under real threat conditions. The crew demonstrated effective missile defense and command and control under fire. When the order to sprint came, this was not an untested force responding to a hypothetical scenario. It was a proven one. Powered by 2 nuclear reactors, Lincoln covered roughly 45 nautical miles in 8 days without logistical constraints. But the strategic value of the carrier lies in her air wing. Carrier Air Wing 9 fields 75 aircraft, including Marine Fighter Attack Squadron 314, flying the F-35C. These aircraft are not just strike platforms. They are intelligence nodes. In 2026, stealth is not invisibility. Iran employs long-wavelength VHF radars, such as the Resonance-NE system, to detect low-observable aircraft. While these systems can indicate presence, they lack the precision required for missile guidance. That gap is exploited by U.S. electronic warfare. EA-18G Growlers from VAQ-133 deploy the ALQ-249 next-generation jammer, which targets specific radar frequencies and communication links. When Iranian surveillance radars, Attempt to cue fire control systems. The connection is disrupted and the engagement radars are blinded. Meanwhile, F-35C remain passive, using sensor fusion to locate emitting systems. The radar network exposes itself and is neutralized through standoff weapons or coordinated strikes. Once the air defense network is degraded, Super Hornet squadrons deliver massed strike power against fixed infrastructure, command nodes, missile sites, and naval facilities. This is distributed lethality in practice, multiple platforms executing complementary roles to dismantle the enemy's ability to complete a kill chain. Overhead, the E-2D Advanced Hawkeye manages the battle space, tracking hundreds of targets and coordinating the entire air wing in real time. Carrier survivability is ensured by the escorting Arleigh Burke-class destroyers. Together, they form a layered defensive network built around the Aegis combat system, with nearly 300 vertical launch cells carrying Tomahawk cruise missiles, SM-3 ballistic missile interceptors, and SM-6 multi-role missiles. The strike group can defend itself while executing deep precision strikes. Cooperative engagement capability allows all ships to share sensor data, creating overlapping missile coverage across the formation. Iran's doctrine relies on saturation, launching large numbers of missiles to overwhelm defenses. Aegis is designed for this exact scenario. Incoming threats are classified, prioritized, and intercepted within seconds. The cost-exchange ratio is decisive. For every missile launched, Iranian radar sites and command nodes expose themselves and become targets. The math favors restraint. On January 18th, Abraham Lincoln transits the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most critical maritime choke points. An Iranian commercial vessel shadows the carrier, collecting imagery and signals intelligence. The U.S. does not intervene. The visibility is intentional. Deterrence in this context is not secrecy but clarity. Iranian planners see the force composition, the air wing, the escorts, and the timeline. They understand the equation. Iran retains the capability to disrupt shipping temporarily, but not the ability to survive the counterstrike that would follow. The presence of Abraham Lincoln shifts the strategic balance from area denial to sea control. The strait remains open not because the threat disappears, but because the cost of acting becomes prohibitive. So why Lincoln? Because when global economic stability is at stake, the Navy does not gamble. It sends the ship engineered for the mission, crewed by sailors who have already faced live fire, and equipped to dominate the full spectrum of modern naval warfare. Shall not perish becomes more than a motto. It becomes a guarantee of navigation, of trade, and of stability enforced not by words but by capability. Most people see the headlines. Very few understand what's actually happening behind them. If you want that perspective, subscribe to the channel and stay tuned. We'll see you in the next operation.